When a creator has pitched you a great story and you've given them the ability to go out and tell that story.
No, I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous films.
2024 has been a challenging year for Hollywood, with several studios facing significant box office failures. And Disney has been particularly scrutinized. As we approach 2025, all attention is directed towards Disney's live-action remake of Snow White. However, the controversy isn't just about the film. It extends to the press tour and the backlash it's receiving, particularly from comments made by its star, Rachel Ziegler, which seem to be exacerbating the situation. What's really happening behind the scenes of this eagerly awaited but contentious film? Let's delve into the details. Disney's upcoming 2025 remake of Snow White is gearing up to be a major cinematic event, but it might capture headlines for all the wrong reasons. After facing commercial disappointments with movies like The Little Mermaid and Elemental, Disney's decision to take another classic tale and reimagine it with a modern twist has positioned the studio in a precarious spot. Casting Rachel Ziegler as Snow White was intended to bring a fresh face to this beloved story, but it has instead fueled an ongoing debate over the direction of such adaptations. The film's intent to modernize the iconic fairy tale by introducing a diverse cast and integrating themes of social justice has sparked significant controversy. Many fans feel that these changes compromise the integrity of the original narrative, which has been cherished across generations. Critics argue that this version of Snow White, transformed into a symbol for social justice, strays too far from the Brothers Grimm's original tale and the 1937 Disney animated classic. This stark deviation has not only disappointed but also alienated a significant portion of Disney's traditional fan base.
When a creator has pitched you a great story and you've given them the ability to go out and tell that story, you've given them the resources, the money, the tools, the place to tell that story. That story is...
The board was making a decision to make a change at the CEO level at Disney, and that they might ask me to step back.
And you say to her?
And I said to Willow, I'm getting this call. It's possible that I could get asked back.
The disapproval has escalated to widespread boycotts, with families and longtime Disney fans voicing their discontent. They argue that the film's heavy emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, overshadows the fundamental elements of the story that originally drew them to it. This sentiment reflects a broader concern that Disney's focus on updating its classics with contemporary values might be alienating those who seek the comfort and nostalgia of the original tales. This situation places Disney in a delicate situation, balancing the desire to stay relevant and progressive with the risk of alienating those who cherish the traditional narratives. The Snow White remake is more than just a film. It has become a litmus test for the future of Disney remakes. Will the studio manage to win over new audiences and critics with its modern approach? Or will the backlash signal a need to reassess how it adapts beloved classics for contemporary times? The outcome could have lasting implications not just for Disney, but for how classic stories are retold in Hollywood. Amidst the growing controversy surrounding Disney's live-action remake of Snow White, Rachel Ziegler, cast in the titular role, has taken a firm stand in defense of the film's modern reinterpretation. Ziegler champions the new vision as an empowering narrative for today's women, depicting Snow White not just as a damsel in distress, but as a formidable warrior confronting and challenging deep-seated societal norms. Her portrayal aims to reshape Snow White into a symbol of resilience and empowerment. However, Ziegler's vocal defense of the film has stirred significant debate.
The rice has to be body temperature, and if it takes too long to serve it, it's no longer body temperature. But what was interesting to me about him was he had 3 Michelin stars, and he was still trying to learn how to get better, how to be better.
Yes.
And I showed that to executives at Disney.
She has been critical of those who oppose the film's direction, labeling their dissatisfaction as misguided and attributing it to a vocal minority resistant to the movie's progressive themes. Her dismissal of these concerns has not quelled the unrest, but rather has fueled the controversy further. Ziegler insists that the film's focus on diversity and inclusion does not equate to an ideological push, but rather a celebration of broader representation. Critics, however, are skeptical of these assertions. They argue that Disney's approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, seems less about effecting genuine cultural shift and more about tapping into current marketing trends. This perception suggests that the incorporation of modern social issues into the storyline is being driven by a desire to align with woke culture rather than a commitment to enhance the narrative's relevance or richness. This tension highlights a critical divide. While some audience members see the adaptation as a timely and necessary evolution of a classic tale, others view it as a departure from the story's original charm, accusing Disney of placing political correctness above the art of storytelling. This polarization suggests a broader dilemma in Hollywood's push for diversity, finding the balance between updating narratives to reflect contemporary values and maintaining the timeless appeal that made these stories beloved in the first place.
That would be my preference as well.
Why your preference?
Well, look, I'm going to be 72 years old tomorrow. I've put in almost 50 years. There are other things in life that I'd like to do. I also am confident that the board will be able to identify an able successor. Anything that has to do with technology creating opportunity for us, I find very enjoyable. The creative process at its highest level is at times frustrating, but often, and fortunately for us, really enjoyable.
The controversy enveloping Disney's latest adaptation of Snow White has deepened considerably due to Rachel Ziegler's public remarks, which many perceive as alienating. Her bold prediction in a recent interview that critics will deem the film a classic after viewing it has only served to fuel perceptions of her as egotistical and out of touch with the audience's genuine concerns. This apparent arrogance, coupled with her dismissive responses to critical fans, has transformed her into a polarizing figure within the community. Her approach in the media has been characterized as tone-deaf, with critics suggesting she seems more preoccupied with defending her personal stake in the film, rather than engaging constructively with the widespread dissatisfaction surrounding it. Compounding the issue is Disney's seemingly indifferent management of the press tour. The studio's subdued response to Ziegler's fervent defenses has sparked widespread speculation. Many are wondering if Disney, recognizing the potentially unfavorable reception to the film, has decided to let the chips fall where they may. This hands-off approach could be seen as a strategy to maintain media buzz, albeit negative, as the film's premiere looms a year away. By allowing Ziegler to continue her controversial statements, Disney might be attempting to keep the film in public discourse, despite the backlash. This unfolding drama might represent a crucial turning point for Disney's future in live-action remakes. If Snow White fails to connect with audiences and meets a cold reception, it could indicate a wider audience pushback against movies that prioritize contemporary political and social issues over the timeless elements that traditionally have drawn people to these tales.
We wrapped on a Tuesday, and then I moved to Poland on the Wednesday and started shooting.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a hard, goodbye that I feel like I mourned the wrap of Snow White while I was in the middle of kind of getting my bearings on the Hunger Games set.
Business with large Western companies and brands, but we bring to China a type of ideology, admittedly a relatively benign one as it relates to politics in China, but still a Western ideology. And in many ways, that had value to them.
Such a setback might compel Disney to reevaluate its strategy for upcoming projects, particularly regarding how it blends modern issues with classic storytelling. This scenario poses a significant question for Disney. Is the integration of progressive themes into beloved classics genuinely enhancing their appeal? Or is it detracting from the magical essence that originally captured the hearts of its audience? The outcome could determine the trajectory of future Disney films, potentially signaling a shift away from politically charged narratives back towards more universally cherished storytelling traditions. As the 2025 release date for Disney's live-action Snow White approaches, the controversy surrounding its production continues to intensify. Rachel Ziegler's responses to the criticism, perceived as defensive and self-centered, combined with Disney's seemingly disorganized approach to managing the fallout, highlight that this project is more than just a retelling of a beloved tale. It's becoming a critical point of contention in ongoing Hollywood debates about how diversity should be incorporated into storytelling. This version of Snow White has become emblematic of the industry-wide tensions over diversity-centric narratives. With its bold choices, the film is testing the waters of public and critical acceptance, pushing the boundaries of traditional storytelling in an effort to modernize and diversify classic characters and plots. However, these changes have not been universally welcomed, leading to a heated discourse about the direction in which Hollywood narratives are heading. The outcome of this remake could very well set the tone for future Disney projects and influence the industry at large. If Snow White manages to resonate with audiences and critics,
is not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office. It just is far more difficult. Now, I've never been in it, but from what I observe, it's far more difficult to run for office today than ever before.
proving its skeptics wrong. It could usher in a new era of successful inclusive storytelling that others in Hollywood might follow. Conversely, if it fails to connect and is deemed a misstep, it could serve as a cautionary tale about the risks of diverging too far from established narratives in the pursuit of inclusivity. This evolving controversy is not just about a single film, but speaks to broader implications for Disney and the live-action genre as a whole. Will Snow White be remembered as a pioneering project that opened doors for more inclusive storytelling? Or will it be a reminder of the complexities and challenges that come with adapting classic stories in today's socio-political climate? What do you think? Will Snow White prove to be a trailblazer in the industry, or a cautionary tale that prompts a reevaluation of how Hollywood integrates contemporary themes into its narratives? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this discussion engaging, don't forget to like and subscribe for more thoughtful content. Stay tuned for more updates, and I'll see you in the next.